Hi again, everyone. This is part two, a continuation of my Elvis collection. But before I carry on with this, I'd just like to tell you a little kind of a humorous story. There's a street that's behind a plaza that's very close to where I live, and there's some houses on that street. And this would be back in the 1990s, where I'd drive down the street, and there was a house that every night in the evening, the drapes would be pulled wide open, and the living room would be brightly lit. And this house was right at a corner, and you couldn't miss seeing what was in the window on the wall of their living room. It was a giant picture of Elvis Presley, and you couldn't miss it. It would just jump right out at you, kind of thing, as you're going down the street hitting that corner. And one day I was driving along, listening to the disc jockey on the radio station, on the rock station, and apparently there was a sale on at a store in the plaza. And the disc jockey said, "You drive down a Boo Street, and when you see the house with the Elvis in the living room, you turn a left to get to the store." I just thought that was the funniest thing, because it seemed like everybody in town, including the disc jockeys, all knew about this house and about this huge Elvis picture mounted on the wall of this house that was by the plaza. So this is Elvis's first live album after he passed away. I think it was 1978. Elvis in Concert, double album. Just prior to Elvis's death, he recorded a TV show, and he was looking pretty ill. And I think some of the material on this might have been taken from that live performance on that TV show. Now this album is called the Canadian Tribute, and it's in gold vinyl. Like that. And I'm not sure if this was released in the United States, but the material, it's Elvis recording Canadian material like Lightfoot songs, Snowbird, Anne Murray's Snowbird. There's I'm Moving On by Hank Snow. And I think Manic Mark has this album, which kind of surprised me because I always thought it was released in Canada only. They were getting desperate at RCA to release things, Elvis cash-ins after he died. Elvis sings for children and grown-ups too. Now, there was a series, I think, of 3 Elvis Legendary Performer records. This is the yellow vinyl. I don't have the first 2, I only have this volume 3. Also, there was a picture disc of the volume 3. Now, Elvis, with this series, Legendary Performer series, I think Glenn Miller must have seen that Elvis album, and he wanted to have a cover exactly the same. So Glenn Miller arranged with RCA to release some of his material with the same kind of cover that Elvis had. Our Memories of Elvis. And that is Elvis's dad and Colonel Parker, Elvis's manager, who I think made half the money that Elvis made. I think he had a 50% contract with Elvis, which is pretty incredible. Our Memories of Elvis Volume 2, more of the pure Elvis sound. This is a nice box set that I bought this when it came out. When it was released, I think around 1980 or 81. It's an 8-album set. It's Elvis Aaron Presley's 25th anniversary of signing with RCA. It's a numbered set. This is number 8382. Has a booklet inside, 8 albums with a lot of rare Elvis material. And notice Aaron, this is spelt the correct way, the way Elvis was given his name, with just one A. Elvis Guitar Man. This is more of a country kind of package. This is Elvis. Selections from the original motion picture soundtrack. This is a very good compilation. I think in the movie or the TV show, it was perhaps Kurt Russell played Elvis in the movie. But this album also has Always on My Mind that Willie Nelson made famous. More repackaging, the Elvis medley. They took some of Elvis's songs and put them together and made a medley. This is one of my favorite Elvis albums and reissues. This is one that I do put on occasionally, more often than the other ones, I think. It's called Return of the Rocker. Nice artwork on the cover of this. And the material on here, it has some of his really great rocker songs like Little Sister, Return to Sender. This is a super album. It sounds great too. This is a double album called The Top 10 Hits, Elvis Presley commemorative issue. It's from the 1980s. Now Elvis, in his true natural element, was a gospel singer. He could have been one of the great white gospel singers of all time had he gone that direction. And this is his Hand in Mine. How Great Thou Art. And He Touched Me. This is a reprint of Elvis's Blue Christmas, his first Christmas album. Here's another Elvis's Christmas album where he sings The Wonderful World of Christmas. This is part of the Country Club series. It's the hits of Elvis Presley, and I recall these were the list price, manufacturer's list price on these. They're kind of a budget line, $5.98 list price. And whereas the normal albums at the time, I think in the 1970s, the list was about $7.29 or something. I like this one because it has Fever on it. I always thought he did a really good version of Fever. This is a really nice box set. It's Elvis's Worldwide 50 Gold Award Hits, Volume 1. They're all in original mono. It's the A-sides of his first 50 hits. And there is a Volume 2 to this that I don't have, I wish I did have, where it's the B-sides of all these records. I think this is a 4-album set. Now Camden, RCA licensed to Pickwick, and also had their own budget series, the Camden series, where these were listed, I think, at $3.98 or $4.98 in the stores. That's Flaming Star. Let's Be Friends. Burning Love and Hits from His Movies. I should say, when after Elvis passed away, RCA ran out of product. They couldn't print the Elvis albums fast enough in 1977 after his death. But Pickwick Records, who had licensed Elvis's material and put out budget albums, they were able to press all kinds of stuff, and they really had a huge advantage over RCA after Elvis died. This is a British Camden pressing, double album, the Elvis Presley Collection Volume 2. K-Tel. This is Elvis Country. Elvis loved Elvis's country songs. In fact, I think there's probably about 20 songs on here. It's licensed from RCA, of course. This is Elvis Speaks to You, 2 records. Might be a bootleg of some kind. This is an Italian pressing, and I'm sure people have seen many of these around with lots of jazz people, jazz artists and things like that. This is the Elvis Presley single Italian pressing. And last but not least is Elvis American Trilogy 3-album set. This is a British pressing, and it's just a collection of Elvis's great recordings from Britain. It's a pretty good set. Thank you for everyone for watching these. And there will be another video at some point in the near future. I'm going to do a video of of books that have been written about Elvis, and I hope you find that interesting too. Thanks a lot.